It was one of Thomas's final days being in York, and he and the other engines were very excited because a special train needed to be pulled to the seaside. Thomas was imagining what it'll be like to pull this special train, while the others were debating on who it'll be.
I'm sure it'll be me. I'm the shiniest engine on this railway, and it'd be perfect to show the passengers my new paintwork. Plus, the seaside area helped me with my repairs.
The engines were confused on what he meant on that, but ignored him and continued to argue. When it was time for an engine to pull the train, Green Arrow was chosen, and he was very happy. Thomas knew he wasn't going to be the chosen one, but he was also proud for his new friend. When he stopped at the station to wish him luck, Green Arrow was telling him about the passengers.
I've never seen this many passengers before, Thomas. I hope they don't make the coaches heavier than it already is.
Oh, you think that's a lot of passengers? You should see how many we get back on Soldor. Thankfully, we have enough coaches and engines to pull them so they don't cause any damage for any of us. Then they heard the crew talking about adding some extra coaches, but that was impossible with only one engine to pull them all.
I just don't know about this. Even if it's too many coaches for him to pull, who's to say that Green Arrow won't be able to cause an accident of his own?
That won't be necessary. I can pull lots of coaches. In fact, I used to do it during the war with my brothers, so I'm sure I can pull all of them.
Can I help? I'm sure Green Arrow needs some extra strength to pull so many coaches just in case.
Well, I guess you can. I don't see why not.
Thomas was very happy to have the promotion. Early the next morning, Thomas's crew was getting him ready to go. His driver made sure all of his driving parts weren't stuck, and his fireman was getting his fire warmed up. Green Arrow was getting ready as well. He was excited and couldn't wait to get going. At last, it was time to go. But what they didn't expect was that there were even more passengers than yesterday. It seemed like as if the station didn't get any smaller. The two engines were surprised to see that many passengers. Even a handful of them were already in the coaches, and yet it seemed to not be enough. But Thomas and Green Arrow were going to pull them anyway. Green Arrow was coupled to the coaches, and Thomas got coupled up to Green Arrow and waited for the rest of the passengers to get in. After they did, the engines blew their whistles and set off to the seaside. Thomas was loving every single thing he was seeing during his run. It felt like he was somewhere new right after York, as if he was in a different country. When they got there, the two engines got uncoupled so they can use the turntable to go to the other side of the train and go back to the station facing forward. After they did that, they watched the passengers taking pictures of the amazing sight of the sandy beaches and the beautiful clear blue ocean. It was like if no one wanted to leave the seaside, but everyone knew that they needed to get back. So all the passengers climbed back into the coaches, and the engine started to head back to the station. On their way back, they went through a curve that was right by the river, and a group of people waved and cheered at them. But Thomas paid no attention to them because he could see something strange on the tracks. Ahead of them, he knew they needed to stop right away, so he blew his whistle and shouted to both his crew and Green Arrow, "Stop! Stop!" Immediately, both crews pulled the brakes, but the heavy train was pushing them, and they pulled on to their brakes even harder. At last, they stopped just in time.
What's the matter, Thomas?
Something isn't right with the rails. I think the inspector should see the problem. And indeed he did. He checked out on what was wrong with the rails. Then he found the problem.
The river has undermined the embankment, That's why the rails here are lower than the ones next to us. I'll call the signalman about this, and then we'll see what to do.
After the inspector called the signalman, a lot of buses came to help with the passengers, to drop them home. But after they left, it was getting late, leaving Thomas, Green Arrow, both our crews, and the heavy coaches left on the tracks. They all agreed that it was safer to use the other tracks so they can get back to the sheds in one piece. Phew! That was a close one.
I'll say. Now let's get you back to York so we can be in the sheds.
I agree. I think that's enough coaches to pull today. A few days later, the grand finale of the railway show arrived. Many people came to see it happen. Thomas was surprised to see so many people checking him out. They recognized him from the books, and the children were very happy to see him the most. But what got him surprised the most was that the boss, the manager, and Sir Topham Hatt were there as well. Oh boy, how am I going to explain to him about all the events that happened here? But Sir Topham Hatt didn't seem upset at all. He was smiling. Thomas went from being nervous to confusion. From the looks of things, both the manager and the boss of the railway were telling him all about Thomas's journey in York. Then the boss started talking to the people.
Attention everyone. I want to give a big thanks to an engine who came to help around while the show was going. Thomas from the island of Sodor.
Thomas was surprised at this. He thought he was in serious trouble. I don't understand. What's going on?
Thomas, your controller has told me everything about you and being a really useful engine. And he's right. From saving everyone and one of my engines from a nasty accident, I think you deserve to be in honor of the National Railway Collection. This plate here will remind you of your visit here and how hard you tried to help make the railway show possible. We'll also have one of our own for the museum as a reminder to others that you once came here to help us and visit.
Thomas was amazed. His eyes were wide and didn't know what to say, but he didn't need to say anything. Everyone cheered for him and the engines blew their whistles in joy. Thomas never felt super special in his life. He was very happy to the point where he wanted to let out tears from his eyes. Just then Sir Topham Hatt walked up to him.
See, Thomas, I knew you would be a pride of our line and a new credit to this railway. You are a really useful engine, and I can't think of anyone else to be here.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone, for letting me be in the railway show this year. And he let out a big whistle, knowing he did the right thing and can't wait to get back to Railtour to see his old friends. But that doesn't mean he didn't care about his new friends. He told them that he'll try to come back soon to see them again.